Welcome to the Heartbeat of Chicago, the show where the talk is as real as it gets. This is Chi-Town 2K24, your late-night sanctuary for unfiltered, uncut conversations. I'm Charlie Mack, here to keep it 100 with you.
And I'm Royalty, bringing a dose of truth with a touch of class. We're about to dive deep into the stories and voices that make this city what it is. So kick back, relax, and get ready for a journey into the soul of Chi-Town 2K24.
From the streets to the suites, we're covering it all. Men being men, women adding wisdom, and every perspective in between. Let's get this started. Chi-Town 2K24.
Welcome, Chicago. You're tuned into the very first episode of Chi-Town 2K24. I'm Charlie Mack, and let me start by wishing all of you a happy and prosperous new year.
Happy New Year, everyone. I'm Royalty, and I'm thrilled to be here with Charlie, kicking off our brand new podcast. So, Charlie, before we dive into the deep end, how was your weekend? Anything exciting to share with our listeners?
My weekend was a blast. I spent it with family, just soaking in those good vibes. We had a little get-together, some good food, good music, the usual Mac family style. How about you, Royalty? What did you get up to?
Well, I decided to embrace the chilly Chicago winter. Went ice skating at Millennium Park. It was magical with all the holiday lights still up. And just reflecting on the year ahead, setting some intentions. It's going to be a big year, especially with us launching Chi-Town 2K24.
Sounds like a perfect mix of fun and thoughtfulness. That's the spirit we're bringing into this podcast, right? Sharing our stories, our lives with our listeners.
Exactly. And speaking of stories, let's get this show on the road. We've got a lot lined up for today, don't we, Charlie?
Absolutely. It's the beginning, but just the start of something incredible. Stay with us, folks. This is Chi-Town 2K24. Welcome back to Chi-Town 2K24. Now let's dive into some uplifting news from our city. First up, the African American Legacy has awarded $280,000 in grants to local organizations. That's some serious support for our community, right, Royalty?
It's amazing to see such empowerment. These grants are helping in areas like mental health and wealth creation. It's initiatives like these that are building a stronger future for African Americans in Chicago.
Next, we've got a trailblazer story. Northwestern Settlement has elected Carol Wood as its first black woman CEO in 130 years. Talk about breaking the glass ceiling.
Ida Tim's a historic move, Charlie. Carol Wood Tim's leadership is an inspiration, showing that our community is full of potential and talent ready to lead.
Moving on, we've got Jaquil Jackson, a teen activist who out TM is promoting entrepreneurship among the youth with the Young Biz Kid Day Marketplace. This kid is going places.
Jaquil TM's work is a testament to the power of youth in our city. Hiashi TM's not just talking about change, he's making it happen. It's essential for young people to see entrepreneurship as a viable path.
Jaquil Tim's work is a testament to the power of youth in our city. He says, not just talking about change, he's making it happen. It's essential for young people to see entrepreneurship as a viable path.
Chess teaches strategy and patience, skills that are valuable both on and off the board. Programs like this are about more than just the game. They're about developing young minds.
Last but definitely not least, the Automotive Mentoring Group is doing fantastic work with their auto restoration training program for gang members and returning citizens.
This program is a great example of how we can provide practical skills and second chances. It's about offering a new path and hope for a better future.
That's our roundup of some positive stories from the Windy City. It's heartening to see such incredible work being done right here in Chicago.
These stories are just a few examples of the strength and resilience in our community. Stay tuned for more inspiring tales from Chi-Town 2K24.
Let's talk some hoops and football. The Chicago Bulls just had a big win against the Philadelphia 76ers, didn't they, Royalty?
They sure did, Charlie. The Bulls clinched a 105-92 victory over the 76ers. It was a great game, especially since the 76ers were without Joel Embiid. The Bulls showed some serious skill on the court.
That's what I like to hear. Chicago sports bringing the heat. And speaking of bringing the heat, let's touch on the broader NBA and NFL. Any standout scores you've got for us, Royalty? First, what about the NFL? Our Bears fans are always eager for some football talk.
The Bears recently secured a solid win against the Falcons with a score of 37-17. It was a great display of both offense and defense at Soldier Field. For more NFL scores, fans can catch up on the latest games via the NFL's official site or sports news platforms.
Let's go back to the NBA. Royalty, did you catch that Mavericks
I
game?
sure did. Luka Doncic was on fire, scoring 39 points in their 132-122 victory over the Warriors. The Mavericks are looking strong this season.
Doncic is a force to be reckoned with, no doubt. And how about the Pelicans taking down the Lakers? Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingram each dropping 26 points for a 129-109 win.
That was quite the game. The Pelicans were on point with their long-range shots. Tough night for the Lakers, though.
Moving over to the NFL, the Sunday games were just as exciting. But before we get into that, let's not forget the Celtics' big win against the Spurs. Jason Tatum led the way with 25 points in their 134-101 victory.
The Celtics are really making a statement this season. Tatum's performance was impressive. They're at the top of the Eastern Conference for a reason.
Indeed. Now about the NFL, we had some intense matchups. Did you catch the Packers up against the Vikings?
Oh, yes. Charlie. The Packers dominated that game. Jordan Love led the charge with 4 touchdowns, guiding Green Bay to a 30-10 victory over Minnesota. The Vikings just couldn't keep up.
That's a solid performance by the Packers. Love is showing he's a force to reckon with. And talking about forces, the Kansas City Chiefs pulled off a win too.
That's right. The Chiefs defeated the Cincinnati Bengals with a final score of 25-17. Travis Kelce played a key role in that win, adding 16 yards to the team's effort.
The Chiefs securing their AFC West Division title is big news. Kelce and the team are definitely on a roll.
It's shaping up to be an exciting season. For more detailed scores and game highlights, our listeners can check out the NFL's official site or other sports news platforms.
There you have it, sports enthusiasts. Whether it's the Bulls on the basketball court or the Bears on the gridiron, Chicago sports are always something to talk about. Keep following your favorite teams, and we'll keep bringing you the updates right here on Chi-Town 2K24. Let's dive into some Chicago politics. Big news. Former Alderman Ed Burke was found guilty of racketeering, bribery, and attempted extortion. A landmark trial that's really shaken up our city's political scene.
Yes, Charlie, it's a significant moment for Chicago. Burke's conviction on 13 of 14 counts is a stark reminder of the corruption issues we faced. This trial, lasting 6 weeks with testimony from dozens of witnesses, shows the depth of the problem.
For sure. It's a moment of reckoning. Burke, once a powerful figure, now faces the consequences of using his position for personal gain. It's a wake-up call for our political system. I'm going to go a little off schedule, but it needs to be said. It's deeply concerning that corruption, as allegedly seen in Alderman Ed Burke's case, was allowed to persist for decades in Chicago. This raises questions about the effectiveness of local law enforcement, including the Chicago Police Department, in identifying and acting against such misuse of power. The delay in bringing charges against influential figures like Burke, who now at 80 has lived a full life, highlights a systemic issue. It's unfortunate that many politicians may never fully face the consequences of their actions, leaving a legacy of wealth built on the exploitation of their constituents.
And in other news, Chicago is grappling with a growing migrant crisis. The city has seen nearly 25,000 new arrivals, more than our shelters can handle. While the number of those without shelter has decreased, the challenge
That's a
remains
tough
significant.
situation. It's good to see the city getting help from parishes and pursuing efforts to build large tented cities. But it's a complex issue that needs continuous effort and resources.
Definitely. Mayor Brandon Johnson's administration is working hard to manage this crisis, finding innovative solutions to provide shelter and support to these new arrivals.
Now, royalty, there's another angle to this migrant situation. It's about how laws are enforced. There's a perception that Chicago, like many cities, cherry picks what laws to enforce, especially when it comes to immigration.
That's a valid point, Charlie. The city's approach to migrants has sparked debate. While some see it as humanitarian, others are concerned about the legal implications, particularly regarding the enforcement of immigration laws.
Right. The issue isn't just about providing shelter or aid. It's also about the broader picture of legality and integration into society. We have people arriving who, as some argue, might be breaking the law initially, but then go on to become productive members of society, even holding significant positions like lawyers, judges, or even
It's a complex
congresspeople.
issue, Charlie. On one hand, there's the rule of law. On the other, there's the humanitarian aspect. Chicago's situation reflects a larger national debate on immigration and law enforcement.
And this isn't an issue that's going away anytime soon. With continuous arrivals, the city and indeed the country have to grapple with these tough questions.
It's about finding that balance, Charlie. Upholding the law while also addressing humanitarian needs. That's the reality we're dealing with here in
Listeners,
Chicago.
for more in-depth analysis on these issues, you can check out various news sources and stay informed. It's crucial we understand all sides of
That's
these
right,
complex
Charlie.
matters.
Stay informed, stay engaged. This is Chi-Town 2K24, and we're bringing you the real talk about our city.
Hey, Royalty, did you hear about the return of our favorite Chicago shows?
Yes, Charlie. Chicago Med, Chicago Fire, and Chicago PD are all coming back on January 17th. I can't wait to see what's next for these series.
It's incredible how these shows have become a part of the city's identity, right? They really showcase the diversity and the spirit of Chicago.
They bring the drama, the action, and the heart of our city to screens everywhere. It's a great representation of Chicago's resilience and community spirit.
Couldn't agree more. These shows have a special place in the hearts of Chicagoans. Let's make sure we're tuned in on January 17th.
Definitely. And for our listeners, don't forget to catch the new episodes. It's going to be an exciting season.
Royalty, have you noticed the surge of shows with African Americans in leading roles, like The Equalizer, East New York, and others?
Yes, Charlie. It's so important to see ourselves reflected in leading roles on mainstream TV. Shows like The Neighborhood and The Lioness Special Ops aren't just entertainment. They're a statement about diversity and representation.
When you're right, you're right. When we support these shows, we're not just enjoying quality TV. We're also advocating for more diverse narratives in the entertainment industry.
Exactly, Charlie. Each episode, each season these shows get is a step forward in telling our stories and showcasing our talent.
So let's encourage our listeners to support these shows. It's about representation and making sure our voices and stories are heard.
Definitely, Charlie. Remember, folks, your viewership matters. Support these shows and help bring more diversity to our screens.
All right, Chi-Town, it's time for one of my favorite segments of our show, Daw Letter. Today we've got a letter from a listener named Richie. He's got a bit of a dilemma and is seeking our take on it. Royalty, why don't you read it out for us?
Sure thing, Charlie. Let's see what Richie has to say. Dear Royalty and Charlie, I'm Richie, a 50-year-old man, and I've recently started dating Stephanie, who is 25. Our connection is real, and we share many common interests. However, I'm concerned about the optics of our age difference. I fear the reaction of my family and friends when they meet her, and I'm equally worried about being accepted by her circle. Stephanie shares these concerns. We value this relationship, but we're unsure how to navigate these social hurdles. Any advice would be greatly appreciated. Richie.
That's a tough one, Richie. Age gap relationships often raise eyebrows, but it's the bond between you two that truly matters. If you both are happy and respectful, that's a great start.
I agree, Charlie. It's important to focus on what makes your relationship work. As for family and friends, honesty and openness can go a long way. If they see your genuine connection, they might understand better.
Yeah, and remember, Richie, at the end of the day, your happiness is what's most important. Be confident in your relationship and give them time to see what you see in each other.
That's right. Discuss your goals, your future plans, and make sure you're on the same page. It's not just about age, but where you both stand in your lives.
At the end of the day, trust your instincts. You know your relationship better than anyone else. If it feels right and you're both happy, that's what truly matters.
And remember, love doesn't discriminate, so as long as you're both consenting adults, respectful and caring towards each other, that's a solid foundation. Good luck, Richie.
So, Royalty, as we wrap up our first episode, what are your thoughts on today's discussions?
Charlie, it's been enlightening. We've covered a lot, from the positive strides in our community, the exciting world of sports, to the complexities of Chicago politics and the richness of entertainment featuring African American leads.
Yes, it's clear that our city is vibrant and diverse, with challenges but also immense strengths and stories worth celebrating. Our discussions today really reflect that spirit.
And let's not forget Richie's letter. It shows the diverse issues our listeners face, and I hope our thoughts are helpful. It's all about bringing real, unfiltered conversations to our audience.
Right on. Here's to many more episodes where we dive deep into the heart of Chi-Town. Thanks to all our listeners for joining us on this journey.
We're just getting started, Chicago. Keep tuning into Chi-Town 2K24 for more discussions that matter. Until next time, stay engaged, stay inspired. Chi-Town 2K24 is your go-to podcast for all things Chicago. Hosted by the charismatic duo, Charlie Mack and myself, each episode is a deep dive into the city's culture, politics, sports, and entertainment. Expect engaging stories, lively debates, and exclusive interviews, all wrapped up with a good dose of humor. And there's more! We'll be bringing you special segments where listeners like you get to share your stories and questions. So, follow us on all social media platforms, hit like, subscribe. Join us weekly to catch every exciting moment of Chi-Town 2K24.
That's it for tonight's episode of Chi-Town 2K24. Thanks for joining us in this no-holds-barred conversation. It's been real, it's been raw, and it's been all about Chicago.
Don't forget to follow us on all social platforms. Until next time, keep it classy and stay safe out there.